So not only do we keep a don't know mind with the koan practice, but it's something we can actually use in our own lives. Hello everyone, it's Jason, and I'm here answering your questions about Zen, meditation, your practice life, any kind of question. Today's question is about koans. Now I think koans are probably one of the most misunderstood practices in Zen. Some people think there are riddles, some people think there are a word game, or perhaps some kind of test to see what level you are at in your Zen practice. But actually, it has nothing to do with any of those things. If you are curious about koans, I am doing a free workshop about them on Saturday, December 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to cover the history of koans, how they were used, how they can be used now, how they're relevant to our lives. So if you're interested in this workshop, I'm putting a link down below so you can register for free. Okay, let's get into this question. I'm totally stuck with koan practice. Sometimes my answers are more or less acceptable, but I'm afraid of going for interviews with Zen teachers because I feel like a total idiot trying to answer koans. I have no koan homework now, I think, because my teacher didn't want to make me feel bad in such a frustrating practice. Jason, what could you recommend? Should I expect any progress in answering koans or just leave as it is without expecting any changes? This is a really important question, and I think many of us who have worked with koans has experienced this before. And this is what I really appreciate about the practice with working with the koans, because it really shows us our own mind. When we look way back when Zen was flourishing in China, it was mostly monastics practicing Zen. Now there were some lay people and they were quite famous, but mostly it was a monastic practice. So often a teacher would meet with their student and the teacher would give the student a koan, and that student would take the koan and practice with it, really try to penetrate the koan. And the purpose of it was to have a breakthrough through our understanding and our strong karmic tendencies, so we can have an awakened experience and really see our true nature in this moment. As time went on, many lay people started practicing Zen. And if we look at today's world, there's probably more lay people practicing Zen than there are monastics. Now, I could be wrong about that. But we can also see that this world is way more complicated. Life is very intricate. Many people have to work, raise families, go to school. There's all these plans to be made. So many things to do. And I think what's required in today's world, I mean, if we look at this world, it's very complicated and there's a lot of suffering. But I think wisdom is really important in today's world. So earlier I mentioned that koans were meant to have an awakening. But just to have an awakening is not enough. But we have to take another step. How does this awakened state, or how does this true self function in our lives? Function in all of these things that we have to do. So the most important aspect of Zen koans is keeping a don't know mind. I've made a lot of videos about this. Don't know mind, some people call it a beginner's mind. I guess Suzuki Roshi taught that. But it's a mind that's very wide open, very curious, very attentive and clear. Usually our minds are clouded with our understanding, our views, our opinions, our likes and dislikes. It's clouded by all of these things, and we cannot perceive the moment clearly. What I really appreciate about the koan practice is that our mind is reflected back to us. Often I hear, oh, koan practice, it doesn't work for me, or I wasn't there at that time, so how should I know what to do? Or I can't answer these because I'm an intellectual person. And the beauty about koan practice is it takes this I away. The reason why we can't relate, or we can't connect, or if we don't like them, it's because of this ego, this self, this I that we created. In my book, I mentioned when I was in elementary school, the teacher asked me in front of the class, "What is the capital of California?" And I panicked. And I was like, I don't know. Now, first, this teacher's question was a thinking question. That means a question that points to our thinking. What is the capital of California? So hopefully we can pull something out of our thinking and give a response. The I don't know that I had wasn't don't know. I don't know. I don't know has I. So I feel stupid. I feel bad. I can't answer this. So koan practice is completely different because a question in a koan is pointing to our gut, our intuition, our true self, our enlightened nature, whatever you want to call it. And the response or the approach we have with that question is a don't know mind, which is very wide open. Curious, what is this? So not only do we keep a don't know mind with the koan practice, but it's something we can actually use in our own lives. I think many of the times we approach a situation or approach a person with the pre-programmed script or response. And not only does that kill the moment, but it creates a disconnection to the moment. And that always results in some kind of problem. I heard a story from a Tibetan teacher about a high school counselor who was working with the 17-year-old woman. And the 17-year-old woman wanted to move out of her dad's house into her mom's house, right? The parents were separated. And this high school counselor supported this decision. But the father of the 17-year-old did not like this idea. So he wanted to meet this high school counselor for a meeting. This high school counselor was very nervous about this meeting because he knew that this father had a problem with anger. In fact, was let go of being a police officer because of his aggression. So this counselor was not looking forward to the meeting, but he had to do his job. So before this meeting, the counselor thought about all of the things that he was going to say to this father. If he says this, then I'm going to say that. But if he replies with this, then I'm going to say this. Like we do that all of the time. And again, that really doesn't help the situation. But anyways, this counselor had it all scripted out, and it was time for the meeting. And when they met, the counselor said that he was so nervous that he forgot about what he was going to say. And at first he said he panicked, right? I don't know what I am going to say. What am I going to do? But then he said something shifted because he did practice meditation. He said that he started to embrace don't know or not knowing. And how he did that was, what is happening here? What is this? Don't know. And all that anxiety and nervousness kind of dissipated. And he just was perceiving this father. Then out of nowhere, or at least it seemed like it was out of nowhere, this counselor said to the father, "Wow, you must love your daughter very much to be so angry." And all of a sudden the conversation shifted. This father started crying and opened up and started talking about all of these things. So I think this is a really important story about how we approach koan practice, but also how we approach our own lives. So if we're feeling frustrated or struggling with koan practice, that's all good information. It really shows us what we're grasping after. Why do we want to answer this? Who are we trying to impress? Are we trying to get to some level? Are we trying to be a great Zen practitioner? All of that's wonderful information to see clearly, because when we see that clearly, then we can let go. And let go just means don't touch it. Return to don't know. The mind that's wide open. What is this? And the interesting thing that happens when we keep a don't know mind is the answer will appear by itself. Those are my thoughts for the day. Let me know down in the comments if this video was helpful. Don't forget that I'm doing the koan workshop on December 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The link's down below to register. And as always, I will see you very soon.